Well, hello. As we begin, we would like to acknowledge that this service is being held by a community that gathers on the stolen traditional lands of the Massachusetts Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Wampanoag people. We pay respects to those indigenous peoples who lost their lives in the colonization of this land and recognize that these indigenous tribes are still today facing violations of sovereignty, territory, and water. We also give thanks for the earth we walk upon, the waters, the life-giving plants, and all the earth's creatures, as well as the winds, sun, moon, and stars. We recognize that this is just a first step in moving toward right relationship with Native peoples and healing the earth. So, welcome and announcements. Good morning. And welcome to the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton, a welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Ruth Lull, and I coordinate and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. For those visiting FPC for the first time, we welcome you. Please let us know you were here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher, drop it in the plate, or hand it to Meg, our welcoming staff member. If you would like a large print order of service or hymnal or an assisted listening device, please ask our ushers. Anyone is welcome to use one of these to listen to the service from another space in or around our building. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is one level down at the other end of our building, or in a breakout room if you're joining us online. And I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service and also invite you to check out our webpage for more information. And you can also sign up there for our newsletter and email alerts. And an additional announcement, please know that tickets for Polarized Guru concert next Saturday are on sale today at coffee hour. And now, let us come together for a time of community, singing, and worship.
Good morning. Our opening words are by Andrea Hawkins Camper, titled United by Story and Bound by Love. Gather we now into this space, this time when the wheel turns and the veil shatters, Gather we now to remember, to grieve, to prophesy, to complete our harvest before the long dark comes. Gather we now to tell the old stories and sing the old songs, to be as we have always been, the voice of our people eternal. Gather we now to celebrate that which was, that which is, and that which will be. Gather we now, as we have always done, united by story and bound by love. Our chalice lighting words for all souls are by Florence Caplow. Thank you, Chris. As we light this flame, we honor and remember those who have passed into the mystery. Their brightness lives on in our vision, their courage lives on in our commitments, and their love continues to bless the world through us. Our opening hymn is number 103, For All the Saints. Please stand in body or in spirit. And please join in our covenant and affirmation, which I believe are printed in your orders of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to love one another. Today is a very special day here at FPC because we are not only celebrating and recognizing those who have gone before us and lifting up their names in the All Souls Thin Veil time of the year as we annually do, we are also dedicating our new memorial garden today. And so we're going to be departing out and doing part of our service outside in the memorial garden today. And I'll have more information about that later in the service. Our memorial garden started with a vision. 4 years ago, a then Board of Trustees member, Eileen Rudman, returned from a visit to the memorial garden of the First Parish, Alexandria, home church of our former ministerial intern, Eileen Gillespie. And Eileen Rudman returned with a vision and request. Could we investigate the feasibility of such a garden here at FPC? I was excited about this prospect as well, as we had been planning one in my former congregation when I left, and I really believed in the vision. With the blessings of the board, a committee was formed, and efforts began to turn a hope and a vision into reality. The committee reviewed endless design options and site locations all around our building, spoke with other local people and other churches that had created such gardens, and they learned a lot, including how long the process would take, although we didn't know that the pandemic would make that even longer, and how such gardens are most often self-funded, that they usually include benches and memorial structures of some type for the names of the deceased, and a sacred area where the names of the deceased could be scattered or interred. We decided that upright columbaria, which are things where you put the ashes in a stone structure of sorts, were not the best plan for our church, and we made other decisions about what would be right for us. The committee knew that they needed to find a flat area with good drainage that could be expanded with quiet and privacy and a sacred feel. Many of the other areas around our property didn't work for one reason or another. And finally, we decided that the area connecting our lower parking lot with the Stowe Town Park was the best choice. We decided that it would have benches, plantings, a memorial of names, and there would be some sort of pillars and sacred areas for scattering and burial of ashes. The path between the parking lot and the park, which isn't really part of the garden, would have to be completed first, and then the garden would be a path that came off of that path. Important decisions included using reclaimed New England granite for the pillars and benches, using native plants throughout the garden consistent with our net zero goals of changing all of our plants here at FPC to native plants. The use of the natural landscape where there would be a chance for peaceful contemplation. The committee got cost estimates, site and funding approvals, a brochure and a website designed, plaques designed and sourced, paperwork and archive process started, and began the process of reconfiguring site boundaries because there were issues with our property boundaries around there too, which are a long story in and of themselves. We got the process of reconfiguring site boundaries to allow for expanding so that we were taking some of the parsonage land and giving them some of our land. And it's worth mentioning that, again, that all the plants in the gardens will be native plants with the exception of the Pachysandra. And the Pachysandra has largely been relocated from other people's gardens. So we didn't, really buy much more. We've brought it in from other people's gardens. There's a little bit that was purchased, I think. And it's in a contained area. Highlights of the past year include a chainsaw party. How many churches have a chainsaw party, right? Excavation of the site, a bridge for drainage, an engineering plan for the safe installation of the granite, garden prepping, weeding, creation of paths, granite installation, purchase of plants, several wonderful volunteer Sunday afternoons where many hands made today possible. It would be impossible to go into all the details here about the work that went into every step. But the trips out to pick the granite, the sourcing of the plaques, the picking of the perfect colors and designs, the work on the beautiful signage for the site, the many hours of work that went into this by the committee members. And in particular, though, I do want to highlight the years of original leadership by Eileen Rudman and the site design, as well as oversight of all the installation and many, many hours of back-breaking labor by Sonia Furneaux. So please give them a hand of applause. Well deserved. And I'm going to acknowledge all the committee in a minute, but first Sonia has prepared a slideshow of the garden process for you to see some images of it. The beautiful images of our gardens process really help to illustrate all the many hours of work that went into it. And what I want to do now is honor the whole committee that has worked so hard. And if I forgot your name, please stand up and let me know. But the committee members, and please stand as your name is read. The committee members include Marcia Rising, Liz Mosley, Sonia Freneau, Eileen Rudman, Lee Cooprider, Bill Froberg, Wanda Null, Eileen Kramer, and Trish Qualter. Anyone I forgot as well? I'm ex officio. I guess I forgot. Please give them all a round of applause. It is a really exciting moment in the lifespan of this church to be dedicating such an important and enduring spot that we hope will endure for all the decades and centuries of this church to come, and even beyond this church's existence. The memorial garden should endure, if that should ever come to pass. So thank you all for your dedication and hard work. At this time, I want to introduce our offering today, which is split with the Food Project. Tess Hoffman, I believe, is going to give us a plate sharing introduction. I think by video?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, but we're not seeing you yet. So we just need to spotlight you, I think.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, awesome. All right, hello. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. The wonders of technology these days, right? So to introduce myself real quick, my name is Tess. I use she, her pronouns, and I am coming to you today from the Food Project. I know that many of you might have familiarity with the Food Project and worked with them in the past. But for those that are wondering about our work, I would love to share a little bit more about us today. So the Food Project is a wonderful organization. I've actually worked with TFP since I was 14 years old. It was my first job. So coming back as an adult, I really get a great, unique perspective on all of the interworkings of this organization. So essentially, we are a youth and adult partnered organization. We have 2 locations, one in Greater Boston and then one in the North Shore. So we have a lot of different farms around those areas, both in urban and in rural settings. So essentially, we work at 3 intersections. So 3 values that we have at the Food Project are youth, food, and community. So in terms of our youth, we employ 140 youth each summer. So we have 3 programs. The first one is the Seed Crew, which begins in the summer. And that's where we kind of get a lot of people coming out of middle school, coming into high school. So like me, I was aged 14 when I began back in 2013. And so this is where we introduce youth to social justice and food justice. They're working on a farm together and learning and collaborating through workshops. Then Dirt Crew goes into the academic year, and this is where we really start to give youth more leadership positions. They're practicing more public speaking. And then after that, Root Crew is focused more on advocacy and policy. So a lot of our youth are engaged more in the community and working on these bigger projects. Essentially, in terms of food, we actually produce over 200,000 pounds of produce every year. And a lot of this is donated to our local hunger relief organizations, where we also volunteer, and we distribute it through farmers markets and CSAs. We also build raised beds and community gardens to allow for community members to come and grow their own food and have that access to food sovereignty. For our community, we actually have a coalition of community members through our programs of Dudley Grows and Lynn Grows, where we invite community members to come in and talk about some of the things that they want to see in terms of creating a more equitable food system in their communities. And so we really want to practice asset-based community development in the communities that we're working in. I also want to share a little bit more about my personal experience. So like I said, I started back in 2013 with the Food Project when I was going into high school. I was very, very shy. I was not outspoken. I couldn't even give a presentation in class. I would just end up shaking and everything. And so the Food Project really opened me up. I made these lifelong friendships where I'm still best friends with those people to this day. A lot of them have actually come back to the Food Project as well to work with me. And then that's where I really found that I could be a leader. To me, I had really previously only seen leadership in terms of very outspoken and loud people. And I realized that everybody is capable of being a leader. We all just have different ways that we do it. And so it really influenced me to actually go on and go off to college and study environmental studies. And so I've actually traveled around the world working on sustainable farms, but I always come back to the Food Project because I love the transparency that they have. As opposed to other nonprofits I've worked with, the Food Project has a great avenue to provide youth and community members a platform to come and give feedback. So we're really practicing acknowledging our mistakes and working on those to always build a better food system, and providing that scaffolding while also stepping away and hoping that one day we won't need to do this work because the community members will have everything they need. So I also want to tell you more about how your donations will be used to offer that transparency for you. So all of the funds raised will go to support our summer 2024 youth development programs. So this will go right into hiring the members of Seed Crew and Root Crew. We spend about $700,000 every year on youth wages, right? So we really want to make sure that we're giving these youth the money that they need so that they can do this work. We're also looking to raise some money to help our farms invest in a plan to adapt to climate change, because we have been witnessing and experiencing a lot of the effects of climate change on our farms this summer especially. So we're trying to raise about $100,000 for this initiative. So if you're interested in supporting that specifically, you can reach out via the website. And so I can send out to, I don't know if I have access, if there's a chat in here, but I do have a link for our Facebook and our website if you're looking to learn more information. And then I also invite you on November 18th, which is a Saturday, if you have the ability to come to the Lincoln Farm or the Wenham Farm, we are having a harvest party. So we're closing up our farms for the season, and we want everybody to come and get their vegetables. There will be music and snacks, and also a great opportunity to meet the youth firsthand and discuss with them and ask any questions that you may have. But I really want to thank you for your support, and I really appreciate you allowing me to come today and speak to you. And it looks like you have a really great community here. Thank you.
Sing for you. But it's a song that we've been working very hard on for you, and it's become very near and dear to our hearts. So I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, choir. And thank you to our excellent musical staff. We're going to be doing a Beatles service, a whole service dedicated to the Beatles in February. I'm looking forward to it. So this is the time of year when many faiths feel that the veil is thinner between the living and the dead, when we're watching the leaves die and fall off the trees. And so at this time of year, we honor those who have gone before us, those who have departed from us over the last year, of our FPC members and friends. There are 3 different ways that we ask you to visually honor people, and that is, some people have submitted photos in advance, and Kim will begin the slideshow of those in a moment. Other people have brought pictures and placed them on our altar, and if you brought a picture and haven't placed it on our altar, you're invited to do so now. And the third is that we have some rocks here that we invite you to paint or write with markers, names, or images that remind you of someone on these rocks. These rocks are not going to go on our altar today as they usually do, because we're going to take them out to the garden with us. So if you're not going out to the garden and you want to just put yours on the altar, we'll make sure it gets out to the garden later. But if you're going out to the garden with us, we invite you to take the rock back with you to the pew, so that you can take it with you as we go. And so I'm going to invite you to come forward and do the things on the altar, but also to say the names. So while those are our visual ways, we also want to say the names of those we remember today. And if you put a picture up online, or if you put a picture on the table, you can say their name as well. So I'm going to invite the ushers to go around with microphones to people who need it, but I invite everyone who's able to come forward to the microphones up here that I'll have, and make a rock and say a name. And it's okay to be kind of doing this in clumps. This is not a processional format. It's a come and popcorn style format as we do this together today. So please come forward.
Gary Smith.
Penny.
Kenneth Sugioka, Jeff Richards, Roger Austin, and Vaughn Kilborn.
Helen Rita and Donna Lee.
Sarah
Marsha.
Workman.
Marcia Fisk Brooks.
Marvin Muchnick and Jonathan Yendel Reed.
David Dowland, Dale Bartlett.
Ray Pelletier.
Judy and Quint.
Ellen Hutchison.
Pearl and Coop.
Becky Edgerton.
John Merrill and Betty Merrill Hayes.
John Pyle, Cassandra Pyle, and Cynthia Pyle.
I invite people off-site to speak names now. And you can continue to in the room as well.
Betty Selling and Greg Jones.
Autumn for now.
Jean Darlington.
Zan Redfern.
And is there anyone who needs a microphone brought to them? Just raise your hand.
Bill Rawson.
Any additional names from off-site?
Arnold Miller, Jason Frost, Alan Fowler.
Our memorial garden includes 3 special areas where people are remembered in different ways. One is the pillars that you'll see when we're out there of where plates can be put with people's names, whether or not their ashes are scattered or interred in the garden. Another is the bed of Pachysandra, where people can have their ashes buried or scattered. And the third is just a bed of rocks, where anyone can leave a rock to remember someone, and that bed can include remembrance of animals. And so that's where we're going to take our rocks out to today in a moment. Let us have a moment of prayer or meditation. Holy One, on this day of remembrance, we say aloud their names again, the names of those who have died this year. Died. The word is jarring. So jarring that we hardly use the word, substituting euphemisms that are a little more vague. Sometimes people say lost when what they mean is dead. We lost so-and-so this year. But people who die are not lost. They are not misplaced. We did not just lose sight of them, nor did they wander off. They died. And it is as final as the word sounds. But that, of course, is why we don't say they died. When people died, they do not just disappear and we continue on. There's no such thing as out of sight, out of mind. There is no switch to flip to turn off our feelings. The person may not be lost, but we are at a loss for words, for normalcy, for what was and what could have been. And grief is such an unwieldy thing. We are fine 1 minute, years even, and then the deep sadness comes seemingly out of nowhere. That's the thing about people who are loved. Their memories keep. They're never too far away. They come to us in a song lyric or a line of a movie dialogue or on a long walk. What was it that they always said? Oh yes, that's right. And they always had to have it a certain way. So maybe we'll do it that way and laugh a little in memoriam. Be with us, Holy One, as we grieve over the empty chairs at the table. We'll light a candle and say an extra prayer, and we trust for sure and certain hope that you had them before we let them go. Amen. Those words are by Lori Walke, titled Prayer of Remembrance. At this time, we're going to leave to go out into our garden together. If you want to stay in the sanctuary for mobility reasons or other reasons, you're welcome to, and we are going to be live streaming it from there to here. I can't promise sound quality, but we're going to try. And we're going to exit in 2 ways. If you want to go the more accessible route take the elevator down 2 levels and go out the RE wing. Follow me. Everyone else will follow Chris, and we're going to take the lanterns with us as we go. Chris is going to tell us a little bit more about how we're departing.
Yeah, so if you could just let the choir go first so we could get in our place when we get to the garden. Just follow me. We'll go out the front doors of the church. And just to say a little bit about the song we'll be singing, this comes from the African American tradition, and it's a song sung from a place of sorrow, hoping for a better place, whether that's the bonds of slavery or for equal representation or civil rights. So as we sing it today, think about a time in your life when you were hoping for a better place, or someone you know that you could help find a better place. And as we're walking, remember that it's always a journey, that we're looking for hope and love, as life can always be. So let's sing together.
Beloved, as leaves turn and fall from the tree, and the days grow shorter and a stillness falls over the earth, we pause today here in this sacred space that we dedicate today. And we come here together in religious community. We come together to mourn, to celebrate, to recognize, to honor our dead, the lives we have known and loved, the people who have touched lives and made themselves known to us, lovers, parents, children, friends, comrades, classmates, co-workers, colleagues, and our animal companions as well, furred and feathered and scaled. We remember them too. We honor today the wide scope of humanity, those whose lives were full and long, those whose deaths came too soon and too young, those who were in these walls and those who were across the world. As the veil lifts between the worlds, as this time of stillness comes to the earth, we remember them. Welcome to this space, all souls past and present gathered here today. This memorial garden of the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton was created with love and dedication of our church members, created to stand as an eternal resting place and memorial to those we honor here. We dedicate this garden to the ancestors who built this church and nurtured it, to the living memory of those who have worked beside us to grow and strengthen it, who are now gone. And may this garden stand for all the years to come as a place for reflection and honoring and peace for those who have departed, and for being in harmony with lots of reading printed in your order of service as we dedicate the garden. I'll read the regular print, you read the italics. May the paths of this garden remind us of the paths of life. May the plants in this garden remind us of nature. May the rocks of this garden remind us of the eternal. May the benches in this garden remind us of community. We create space in the garden for loved ones to fit and the company of gardens in this garden is short. With this, we dedicate this memorial garden of the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton. A place of memory, of love, of peace. May it be a place of connection to the earth and a connection to past and future. Our words of benediction are inspired by our ancestors by Leah Derlin Jones. For those who have come before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love. As we go forth from this time and place, let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Amen and blessed be. And after the tolls cease, we will sing Amazing Grace. And then go in peace. Go in peace, or stay and wander around the garden, or head up back in for coffee in the community, in the fellowship hall. Thank you for being here today. Thank you. Yeah.